You may have heard the saying in trading, show me a chart and I'll tell you the news. Well, this week would not have proved that even more perfectly. And so in today's video, I'm going to go back through the current Bitcoin price action, and I'm going to show you how you could have predicted this breakdown before knowing anything about the Greyscale news. Now we can see here April 2nd, where the news came out about Greyscale dumping. There was a lot of tweets that covered this and saying that this was the reason for the Bitcoin dump. Now, if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you may have caught my Sunday update for Bitcoin, where I talked about some key levels as part of the false move week beginning. So what that tells me is that in order for the market makers to build their positions, they're going to have to make a big move soon. And the big move is going to have to come up into these yellow zones here, or it's going to have to come down into these yellow zones right here. Anywhere from, say, 71.5 to probably about 73K. And this lower level down here is at about 68.5 to about 68K. Now, if you are new to this channel or have not yet subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can get notified when I upload a new video, because most of my videos that talk about market analysis are very time sensitive. So you want to be notified as soon as they post, because usually the trade setups that I talk about will happen within a few hours of the video going live. So let's dive into exactly what I was talking about on my last few videos and how prices played out before we knew anything about Greyscale. Now, this is the trade that I'm about to explain to you that was taken based off information given to you on this channel. First of all, there's a very important video that I did just a few days ago called Support and Resistance is a Lie. If you have not checked out that video, be sure to check that out, because in that video I talked about what is more important than support and resistance and how you could take trades in the Asia session based off other key levels that were mentioned in that video. And that's how this trade actually went. In that video, I mentioned that after the initial high of the day or low of the day is in, which is one of the levels, it is considered safe to trade. So let's take a look at what happened here. On the Sunday update, I talked about price making a move up to around the $71,500 area. And this is exactly what happened as part of the false move week beginning. And at that point in time, it also created the initial high of the day. Around an hour after the initial high of the day is in, it's considered safe to trade. So at this point here, where you can see the white circle, that's the point it's considered safe to take a position. With the initial high of the day in, you make the assumption that price will come down to then create the initial low of the day next, meaning you could take a scalp trade short there. And so that's what I did. I opened an initial position here, which would have looked something like this. And my stop loss only needed to go above where I believe the initial high of the day was. And the initial target would only been back to this gray area, which is where the New York settle price closed on Friday. So that could have been a 3-to-1 risk to reward. And that was my initial entry. From there, I actually added to this position because I realized that I was in a good trade at this point. So I added to this position somewhere here when price was not able to get back above the 50 EMA. And that gave me this new position, which also meant that I could tighten my stop loss because, again, I could see price wasn't getting above the 50 EMA. So my stop loss just needed to be above that. And that gives me a much tighter risk to reward. From there, that price broke down. This date was Sunday, the 31st of March. So could I have possibly known about Greyscale then? Like I just showed you on Twitter, everybody was talking about it on the 2nd. That was only yesterday. We've been in this trade for 2 days before anyone figured out why price was dumping. News is a distraction. That is the point that I want you to get from this video. News is a distraction. If you're waiting for the news to come out before you make a move, then you're late. They will do what they're doing behind your back because they have to get their positions filled before you find out about it. We could have predicted this based purely off price action. So following on from that, when price did break down, this is when you just simply count the levels of this method. So this here is the level 1 drop. So that means I should naturally assume, even though I initially intended for this to just be a day trade back to the New York settle, once I get there, I reassess, did it take 3 drops to do it or only 1? And in this case, it only took 1. So knowing my method, I know that there should be another 2 drops to come, which is where I make the decision to hold on to that trade. And if I don't get session changeover reversals, then there's no reason to exit the trade. So here, price came back, and over UK to US, it only retested the 50 EMA. It could not break back above it. So there was no reason to exit this short. Then followed level 2. Now I know there should be 3. So after level 2, again, I'm just looking to see if price gives me a W formation. Can I see trapped traders? At this low here, I couldn't really see trapped traders. So I didn't really have a reason to exit my short. Plus, if I just follow the rules of the method, I should expect a third level. So from here, again, rejected EMAs again, and then we finally got our big drop. Now, I actually predicted this big drop in the Discord, and I predicted that it was going to be a fast move. You can see here in this update. Now, this update, look at the date right here. It was the 1st of April. And I wrote here that there are 2 drops so far into the liquidity zone mentioned on YouTube. And then this part here says, my chart above is super zoomed out because I wanted to show you the fact that green vectors to the left are unrecovered right now. And if price drops into that zone, it should be a fast level 3 down that might rebound fast as well, being fast up, fast down, consolidate to rebalance. Now, that's a rule that is part of the method. So let me show you exactly what the chart looked like at that time. And that was this zoomed out chart right here. So we had level 1 drop, we had level 2. And this here, these are the candles that I was talking about. They were a fast move up, 3 green vector candles in one row. And what I was saying is if price comes into that zone, if we return into it, it should be a fast level 3 down, because the fast move to the upside, we get fast move to the downside. The order books were wiped out when price moved up fast here, and it would not be refilled here. So you get another fast move. It won't stay that way forever. After that, you usually consolidate, and that consolidation rebalances the order books. So not only did we predict after we hit the initial 68K that we should head down further, we also predicted that it was going to be fast. And again, we knew nothing about Greyscale at the time that we drew this TA. So let's talk about where we are now in the current price action. This level right here was the low of the week that was sitting at about 66,220-ish. We broke it, we came back into it, we tried to hold it, but we couldn't even break above the 20 EMA. We did not create a satisfactory W formation here, so there was no reason to exit. And at this point in time, you have to start to prepare for a potential change in trend, but also continuation of a trend. So we never automatically close, because we've got to consider more factors than just the levels. The levels, the pattern, the timing. 3 important things to consider. So timing wise, it wasn't really time for midweek reversal. So we had to be open to potential continuation and this feeding up into a higher time frame, meaning all of these levels paid out on the 15-minute time frame. If we go up to the 1 hour, you would then count there as well. So we do have a drop here, a retracement, a drop, a retracement, a drop. So you would say that the 1 hour is played out as well. Could this be a final damage W? We'll talk about that in a second. Now we want to see if we're going to go up another time frame higher than that. So on the 4 hour, you would consider all of this to just be drop 1. So if this is going to be a really dramatic pullback, like a big pullback maybe into the halving and then maybe a pump just prior to halving, this doesn't wipe out the 80K target, by the way. We don't mind if we go down before up. It's just market makers filling their bags, and that's better for us. We just need to wait until it bottoms out, and that's what we're trying to figure out. Let's go back to the 15-minute and talk about that high of the week and where price is right now. Low of the week, excuse me. So this level here was the low of the week, 66,200. This here was a H pattern also that I talked about in Discord. Here, where I said BTC is now at the low again with a wick below, but a retest and held it. Janet's done an awesome update, so I won't repeat what she said. Now, Janet is one of the other traders in our Discord. Know that it's not just me. We have a big team of traders in our Discord that are giving you guys chart updates multiple times per day. So if you are wanting to learn this method in full, if you want more regular updates than what you get on this channel, consider coming to join us. There is a link in the description of this video, and there is a whole team of people in there to help you out all the time. If you are a TTC member and you're getting value from your membership, be sure to comment down below and just let other people know what your experience is like inside the Discord, because it doesn't all rely on me. There is a big team that all have the same goal to help you really understand trading and to really genuinely become a profitable trader. So consider doing that. But Janet had done an awesome update, so I didn't go into further detail, but there was one thing to note here. There was a potential to look like a H pattern. And a H pattern is this. So at this time, we'd had that first drop, the level 3 that we expected, and price was here. And I had drawn this out as a potential to happen. So a H pattern is where you have the initial first drop into a level. Let me show you on this chart. So you have this initial first drop into a level and it rebounds out fast with a wick like that. That's because there are so many liquidations down here that it can't initially pick them all up. So a liquidation is literally just an order in the opposite direction. So these are buys and they wick straight out of the zone, but it doesn't fully empty out that zone, doesn't fully liquidate everyone. So price will usually consolidate and it's usually rounded. So it will look different to a W formation. It looks rounded like that chart I showed you like this. And then it comes back to repeat the level. And you can see that that's exactly what happened here. Once that happens is where it's a full reset. So you fully reset and look at the price action following that to decide what's going to happen next, because this is basically a final damage move and we're trying to assess if all the liquidity was taken or is there more for the market maker to come for that it will now break down further. So what you're looking for there is exactly how I drew it out of this chart, where price will change structure and move to the upside, or it's going to break below the low of the week and continue to the downside. And at this point in time, all we've really been doing is consolidating, but we've been consolidating below the low of the week. So that would lead to bearish continuation. And that also does look like a bit of an M formation to me there as well. And that would be a multi-session M. The first part is in Asia. The second part is just at the UK changeover. So this actually could turn into a reset that leads to more downside. So I would be very, very careful of going long right here. The only thing that would make me think market structure is changing from this point would be if we held 50% Asia. So at about 65,500. If price comes down now in UK and holds it and then starts to create higher highs and higher lows, I would say the downside is over. But at this point in time, I've got a 3-level drop on the 15-minute time frame. I've got a H pattern that finally took out all the liquidity in that zone. I've got consolidation under the low of the week, and then I've got a Asia extension that created another M formation. So all of these things should have me remaining bearish. I do see 1, 2, 3 hits to the low down here, but unfortunately, this is another part of the method that is usually a reversal signal. Unfortunately, they are under the low of the week. So that really only applies when they're at the low of the week. So those 3 hits would have to have been hitting to 66,200. They didn't do that. They've hit lower than that. I would be very, very careful right now of opening long positions. It may work out if it holds 50% Asia, like I said, around 65.5, fine, switch the bias, go long. If it doesn't hold, I would expect this for a potential reset for more downside. And we do need to be careful today because we have some events coming up that are a little bit important. So today is Wednesday the 3rd. We have Fed Chair Powell speaking. This is 10 p.m. Dubai time. So that's going to be towards the end of the UK session. So there could be some volatility around there. Just be careful of that no matter what you're trading, whether you're long or short. Just be careful of that period of time. Once you can get through that, if the market structure is clear, then it's fine. But at this point in time, doesn't look like it should end, but it may end if we hold 50% Asia. So hopefully you can see how now it is really, really important to learn the art of technical analysis if you want to make money from the markets, because the market makers manipulate us using the media. The move was made, the sell-off was made 2 days before anything hit Twitter, before any news articles came out about Greyscale selling. So by the time you get that news, you are already too late. If you understand technical analysis to this kind of a level, you can be in on the move and you can catch it before knowing anything that is even going on. Don't let news freak you out of good trades. Just learn to trade what you see on the chart. The chart will always tell you the news that is about to come out.